Hi, Nate. How are you?
All right, how you doing, Pamela?
Pretty good.
I thought I was going to be late.
No, so it is unusual that no one's here. Generally, Myra's here pretty early, but
Right. Hmm.
um,
Yeah, the chair of the planning board will get there early, but some of the other members, they don't at all. It's actually harder to sneak in on a Zoom meeting sometimes.
yeah. So, hello, Myra. You muted yourself. You were unmuted
I guess I
before.
did.
Okay.
No, it used to come up unmuted.
hmm
Oh, I mean, it used to come up muted and now it comes up unmuted. I don't know why. I also don't know why I can't talk right now. Okay. So who do we have here? You and me and somebody
Nate.
else.
Nate
Nate.
is here.
Hi,
Yeah.
Nate.
Hi.
But you're not here to talk about the downtown thing, right?
I am. I mean, I guess some of it would be I could just give an overview and kind of just
Yeah,
ask
that would be
questions
good.
of the
I
commission.
mean,
Yeah,
tomorrow night is the presentation, right?
right. And
Okay.
then we're hoping the consultants will come to your meeting in April.
Ah, it's the consultants that'll come in April. Got it. Okay. I was a
Yeah, I mean,
little, I
I'll be
didn't
there.
correctly.
I might be there too, but we're asking them to, they're going to a number of boards and committees and giving
Okay.
a presentation. So,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Do you like what they came up with?
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Okay,
I
I
think,
went to the first meeting and
okay.
I figured that this really wouldn't be something I would be very valuable for. So
Oh
I
no.
didn't go back.
Yeah, it's one of those things where I think I think there could be a lot of opinions, right? Like good, bad, maybe. So I'm just curious
Well,
to
the thing
see.
is, they already made they didn't make a mess, but the
Right,
mess has been made.
right.
And there's apparently nothing that can be done about any of it. And so once you've already made the mess, it sort of feels like, well, what could they do that's worse than that?
Mm.
You know?
Yeah, you can't go back and change what's already built,
No.
but hopefully you can help what's going to come.
It's just that's prime space that they
Right,
did
right.
that to. And it's not that big a town. And, and there, I mean, I understand that it doesn't seem to be cost effective to build a building lower than 5 stories. Is that really true? That's what they said. And I was
Yeah.
like, ew.
I yeah, I don't know. I think you could do a 3 or 4 story. I think it really depends on what they're looking for.
Money.
It's yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've heard that anything under once you hit 7 stories and above, it's considered high-rise construction. So, no one will do 7 and 6 is getting kind of expensive. So, they try to go
I
as
don't
high as
like
they can go.
5.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think anyone would object to 3.
right.
Anyway, it's so I don't know. When you consider what else is wrong with this world, just it doesn't seem to matter that much about how high the buildings are, you
Mhm.
know?
So I
I don't know.
just checked my email, and Saren says that she's running about 10 minutes late, but she'll
And
be
Reg is
joining.
here.
Right.
So there's
And
3.
yes,
Hi,
and
Reg.
uh,
Morning.
good morning. Cody said that he would not be able to make this meeting.
Oh.
but as far as I know, Ian and Jim should be here.
Okay.
Mm.
Okay. Um, are we recording already?
Yes, we are recording.
Oh, God, I hate that. Is there any way we can start recording when we start the meeting?
We can.
Okay, that would be a whole lot better.
Well, the risk for me doing that is that I forget to hit the start button and then we don't have a meeting record, which has
Yeah,
happened in the past.
yeah,
So,
no, I know, but
mm.
yeah. Okay, let's see. We have to fill out that questionnaire from the state, correct?
For
The
it,
ethics questionnaire, we have to do it.
yes.
I didn't
Uh,
do it yet.
okay. Okay. Well,
It's a
it won't,
2 hour affair for me.
right. It won't prevent you uh, from serving on the commission at this time, but the town clerk, Amber, will send me a reminder to remind you that it
Okay,
needs to be done.
okay. Reg, are you familiar with that questionnaire? Oh, yes, you are. You're a state employee. So
Yes.
does he have to do it again because he did it as a UMass employee?
I believe the answer is yes,
I
but
just
I'm,
did it. Well, I just did it in November. I have to do it again.
I believe the answer is yes, because it doesn't operate on a year from the date that you are appointed. It operates on a calendar year. So at the beginning of this calendar year, we're all expected to. Um, but I will check with the town clerk, or you're happy to email the town clerk and see. But I don't believe it's a year from the date of your last.
It's
Um,
on a 2 year cycle,
right.
and this is the year, but he may not be on a 2 year cycle because he did it at UMass. So I don't know the answer to the question, but if I were him, I would hate to do it again. It's once you get into it, it's accessible but slow. Getting into it wasn't so easy.
No, yeah, it wasn't not 100% accessible.
Nope, which is completely unacceptable. You want us to do this form, we have to be able to get into it. There's Ian. So now we have a quorum,
Okay.
so we can start.
Okay. And I was just about to email him, but I will start.
Kyle,
So,
sorry for being late.
oh, that's okay. Um, the Commission for Persons with Disabilities is meeting virtually pursuant to Chapter 2 of the Acts of 2025, extended through June 30th of 2027, the ability of public bodies to meet in a fully remote or hybrid manner. Members of the public who wish to access the meeting may do so via Zoom or telephone. No in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure that the public can adequately access the proceedings in real time via technological means.
Okay. Um, Thank you for that, Pamela.
Mm.
And wait, well, let's see. So we need a roll call. Okay, so Ian Rodewald, you're here, right?
Present, yes, here.
Okay, and um, Reg is here. You want to announce that you're here?
Okay, he's
Reg is here.
Yeah, okay. I mean, we know you're here, but we want to have yeah. And I believe Jim is here. Just say you're here.
Here.
And I'm here, Myra, and Pamela is here. So
here.
we're at the moment missing Saren, and at the moment we are missing Cody, who will not be present today. So we have expectation of 6 of the 7, and currently 5. Okay.
So under
The
old business, we have the Worcester.
Worcester. right.
accessibility guide, but I'm wondering, Myra, if we might want to,
Want to go to Nate first?
yes, move to Nate first.
And which one of these updates are you going to talk to? Because actually the thing you wanted to talk to isn't even on here.
It's the downtown design standards under new business.
Oh, it's under new business. I'm sorry. Got it.
Mhm.
Okay. Nate, go for it.
Sure. Thanks. Hi, everyone. Nate Malloy. I'm a planner with the town, and I'm here to talk about the downtown design standards. So the town hired a consultant almost 2 years ago, and they've been looking at, you know, kind of from the town common north to a little past the roundabout to come up with ideas for how the downtown could look, both the streetscape, so the sidewalks, and then also the private buildings. And there's a public meeting tomorrow where they'll publicize the standard. So they've had a working group for a while that's mostly business owners, developers, property owners in that area. And now this is the first time that it'll be seen publicly. It's available on the town website. There's 3 volumes, so it's a lot of information. Volume 1 is the vision, and so the consultants kind of studied the downtown, came up with what they thought were some ideas for how they, what the existing conditions look like and how they could kind of break up the downtown and kind of subzones. And then the second volume is design standards for the private realm. So what the buildings could look like, how far back they are, how high they could be. So really, it's really just the building element. And then the third volume is the streetscape. So the sidewalk, what the materials are, what kind of plantings, if there's seating, all those things. So what kind of really what's between the building and the curb line, what that could look like. And the idea here is to have something that would be adopted by the town, by town council, by the planning board. It could be by others to help guide projects, both, public infrastructure projects. So if DPW is repaving part of the street and sidewalk, it's clear what the materials will look like. If a project comes in, how far back does it need to be so we have a wide enough sidewalk? And so it's all these pieces to kind of shape development in the downtown. Um, and the consultants we hope will come to you in April. And so part of me coming here is also to ask, what you think would make a good presentation. So, they have a lot of material. Their presentation can be anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour. It could be less. And so, if you have questions now of me, of, how what I could relay to them, that'd be helpful. They're also going to the planning board later this month, the design review board, historical commission, community resources committee of the town council. And so there's 6 or 7 boards or committees they'll meet with in the next month and a half. And there may be a chance where they'd come back to you in a few more months. And so they're kind of doing their first round of introductions and seeking public comment. And then they'll come back with some revisions or summarize all the public comments they've received. And we're not sure, like how many, right? It could be hundreds. It could be all over, that people like the standards, they don't. And so then we're just going to have to work on what gets changed and updated. So they've spent a lot of time working on these volumes. It's a lot of pages. We try to make it visual with call outs, but it ends up being also a lot of text. And the idea is that it might be part of zoning, part of the town's general bylaws, part of design guidelines that different permitting boards use, and really just kind of, to me, it would be helpful then, so it's more predictable for everyone, kind of understand what you'll get if there's a new building downtown. So I can stop now and ask if there's any questions or.
Does anyone have any questions or comments? I guess I do. The question would, I mean, for us, the biggest thing is there good wayfinding? Is there good
Mhm,
accessibility? Is there
mhm,
good predictability of what the sidewalk is and what the sidewalk isn't?
mhm.
Is there easy, are the materials such that person who has mobility impairment can easily traverse them? Um, things like that.
Yes.
Um, I mean, the rest of it, the purview of this committee probably would be more with what you later. What you said was volume 3.
3. Mhm.
Yeah. Um, volume 2 matters, I guess, to us in that on this block, the sidewalk doesn't have a green space. On that block, like a snow. What do they call that where they put the snow? Um,
Yeah, I
the
mean,
snow
sometimes,
belt. What do they
yeah,
call that?
yeah. Sometimes they'll call it just I forget what the consultants are calling it. Like I don't know if it's like the tree belt or some
Yeah,
area where they, yes.
yeah. It's if there's going to be one, there needs to be one. I mean, for us, consistency is the consistency and materials that aren't going to degrade is probably the most important thing. So I would probably want to spend some time with that. Like if you're walking down the street, what's it going to feel like to people who have mobility issues um, and visual issues? Sometimes, sometimes I've been in places when I was low vision that were very inconsistent because sometimes the part you're supposed to walk on is the dark color, the part you're supposed to not walk on is the light color, and then on the next block, it's not the same, if that makes any sense.
You
Um,
know, this is great. Yeah, I mean, so this, right. So these are things I'm taking note. So I'll relay this to the consultant because I think those are important for the volume 3. So,
yeah,
right. So having if they're proposing, concrete sidewalks, make
they're
sure that's
all
cl
going to be concrete. Yeah,
concrete, right? Yep.
yeah.
And so, yep.
Oh, there's Saren. Okay, so we have 6 people.
Hi
Um,
there. Sorry being
no
late.
problem. So we're talking about what we would like to hear from the consultants who have made worked with a lot of people in town to design um well, they're not regulations, they're ideas anyway for I guess it's really only North Pleasant Street. Does not include Main Street, correct?
I mean, Main Street maybe down to the police station. So yeah, I
Okay,
mean, the town could, right, their study area. Hi, Saren. This is Nate.
Hi.
Yeah, their study area was limited in size, but I guess, if it's up to the town, boards, planning board or town council. If we say, oh, we like these, could we make those standards apply in a bigger area? But right now, right, it was kind of like North Pleasant Street, off a little bit on Main Street, a little bit down Kellogg, Ave, on Coles and Halleck, but not, it doesn't cover, like, it doesn't go to Lincoln Ave, for instance, right? It stops somewhere on Amity, maybe past the Historical Society. So it's a pretty narrow area, but
and a
uh,
lot of it's already been rebuilt with the Helter Skelter, which I
right.
mean, this is 10 years ago. This would have been a good idea. Um,
Yeah, I agree. And I think some of those public works have said they're hoping to start kind of, looking at the North Pleasant Street sidewalks and some on Main Street. And so it's really helpful that these are
good.
coming
Okay.
together and have your comments. So, right, um, Sarah and Myra had a number of comments in terms of like good wayfinding, accessibility, consistency of materials. And so those are things I'd relay to the consultant. I've asked the
Mm.
commission here if there's any comments or questions or just ideas you have, and I can, they're going to come in April, but also, what you'd be interested in and what they could do to make their presentation more informative to you. So if it's, focusing on this volume 3, which is the kind of public right of way area, then we can, recommend that to them.
It's not legal to ride a bike on a sidewalk downtown, but the e-bikes are sort of on the sidewalk to get them, right? And so I don't know what we would want to do. I don't know what they want to do. Bicycles being left on sidewalks, bicycles being used on sidewalks, segways, all those things are a problem for people who walk slowly, who um, can't get out of the way quickly. Let's put it that way. And I don't even think it's
And
legal.
people with service animals also.
Yeah. I don't think it's legal for some of that to happen on the sidewalk actually, but it does anyway. So I don't know if you're supposed to put in indicators for where those things are and aren't supposed to go, even though they're not supposed to go anywhere. I don't know how to do that, but if you're going to make safe sidewalks, um, keeping those vehicles out of other people's way and not, I believe in pedestrian supremacy, not bicycle supremacy. And for me, that's an important issue, um, because bicyclists tend to take more than they're allowed, and they also tend to be very fast. So, in those two ways, there are problems for people with mobility issues, because they can't get out of the way. So, I don't know how that figures into their plan because am I wrong about it not being legal to ride a bike on a downtown sidewalk?
No, you're right, I think.
Yeah, I think no, it's a really good point, and I know other communities are starting to look at that. So, Westfield has put a speed limit in their downtown if you're on a bike, and then they're enforcing it with police on bicycles. So, you can't go more than 10 miles an hour. Uh,
Nobody has an odometer on their bike.
I know it's kind of silly, but I think but it was interesting to me is I think they're trying to set the framework to help people understand that in this zone,
They
if
can
you want
only
to go
go slow.
fast,
Yeah.
yeah, you can only go slow, and if
Yeah.
otherwise you have to be in the road. I think they started it last fall. I don't know how it's working, but no, I appreciate the comments, and like I said, I'm going to relay these because I think as part of the standards, they talk about having wide sidewalks, and so I think it is important. How do you help users know where to go? So if you are using a bike, do we have better signs, or how do we encourage them to stay in the road, or so I think those are things I think the consultant can, if not address, at least note as part of their report, so it's part of the conversation later. So thank you.
Okay, and also regarding uh regarding bikes or even regarding wayfinding, I was in Switzerland last year and they have uh so inobtrusive that I was having trouble finding it, but maybe that's just me. They have these little tiny, very narrow lines in their sidewalk. Maybe they're 2 inches wide, maybe less, that are they're not really raised. They're like a different substance so that you can feel them. Maybe they're just and if you're a blind person, if you follow that with your cane, you should be able to figure out where you're supposed to go. Um, and if since they're putting in, I mean, none of this is going to be required by the law here, but that doesn't really matter. If you're just building a street and a sidewalk and you're picking materials, you could pick materials that help people with wayfinding, and you could pick materials that don't. And you could pick materials that fall apart, like on Route 9 east of town, or you could pick materials that don't, if you know what I mean. Um, so I think the materials is a big question. I know nothing about what does fall apart and what doesn't. And maybe I can try to find out something about, the way that they build wayfinding. Like it's like in the design of the sidewalk that there are these lines that I don't think bother people at all. I couldn't even feel them when I was told about them. But in the train stations and everything, there are these lines you can follow that get you to where you need to go. So you can go in a straight line, which is, I mean, in theory, it's great. And if you're going to build stuff, why not?
No, yeah, great. Yeah, I think Right. So I think this will be, if these, the idea would be that the right of way standard, so for the sidewalks and things, we'd like to move that more quickly than the rest of it. I think there'll be a lot of conversation about what the buildings should look like and how far back they should be on the property. But, we think that the right of way standards could be adopted this year by town council and, help with public works.
Yeah.
So I like what you're saying, Myra, and I think, I don't know either, right? Some of these, some of the questions you're asking, but I think it's nice to, like I said, I'll write an email and send it off to the consultants and other staff. And I think it's nice to have some of these comments or questions. So, what I see right outside on the sidewalks, we have, concrete, and then we do the brick and we have granite and all those materials
And then
don't,
you have that stuff by Henyon, where Henyon Bakery used to be.
right, right,
What is that? That's very confusing.
right.
I don't even
It's-
know what that is, but it's like slightly lower and it's very bumpy. I don't know what material it is.
mhm,
But I always found that can be to be confusing because you'd arrive at it and you go, okay, because you'd go straight from the other side and you go, what's
right,
this? So I don't,
right.
I think the what's this we have to get out of there.
Mhm,
That's the important part.
right.
And I have also a basic suggestion, which I'm sure there's nothing new, that the sidewalks should be clear of no cracks and no holes, and also curb cuts that
Mm,
are on both sides of the sidewalks, because
Right.
I
No
noticed,
apex. Yep.
I see that there's one curb cut on one side, and then you're on the other side, and no curb cut.
Yep.
mhm,
So that should not be allowed.
yep.
And they should be no apex curb cuts. You know what those are?
What are those?
Okay, they are the ones that go off of the diagonal on the corner.
Okay, yep.
Um, and they're actually, apparently they're allowed under certain conditions, but they're being built because it's cheaper. Um, Curb cuts have to go at the 90-degree angles. No apex. As we were in Boston the other day, and my husband looked at a curb cut and he goes, "Oh, great. There's a little bit too much slope there anyway because of the terrain." He said, "You're in a wheelchair. You're going to go off of that thing, and it's going to be hard to get down reasonably because it's too steep to begin with. Not that they had a choice." And he says, "And you're right in the middle of the intersection." He said that is so dangerous.
Yeah.
Um, and he said, yeah, you can avoid it if you're walking, you just avoid the curb cut. But if you're in a wheelchair, that it was his first, I forget, it was Berkeley Street and something, one of those cross streets. And he said, my God, that's so dangerous if you're in a wheelchair.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So the
The, it,
location and
yeah.
and of the curb cuts is really important. She's absolutely right.
There is just one where your workplace, the town hall, is. When you from the town hall, if you're going to go across the street, the curb cut down is so steep and so uneven. And I was afraid going down, but maybe because of my age, I'm afraid of falling and things like that. But I don't like to do risky things. But it is not even at all. You can just take a look. It's in the front part of the town hall,
I mean,
connecting.
the thing they just built.
Well, I mean, it's in that area, but this is on the sidewalk in front of the town hall.
Well, they just
Like,
built that.
maybe I don't know.
So,
Pamela, do you know what I'm talking about?
is this
I think, Jim, you were there, right? I was getting across the street. We were going to Banks Community Center for
yes,
some
yes.
second.
I believe that was before they finished up construction. So I
Aha, okay.
think that is much better now.
Oh, is it?
But you're right. It was completely out of compliance and dangerous.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because
no,
I was afraid going down. And the same thing is true on the side road that takes you to the back of the town hall parking lot. That was also a very bad cracked sidewalk right there. And I know Pamela saw me there, and Guilford was even there. And I said, Guilford, and also we need to put some lighting on the sidewalks, and oh, he says that's easy to do. So I don't know.
I have a question to Saren's point about cracks in the sidewalk and also Myra's point about same materials. Um, in Northampton, in a couple places, in Florence in particular, there are some sidewalks along like relatively newly planted trees, and right in like a, I don't know, 3 foot patch of the sidewalk next to the newly planted trees, there's sort of slightly more flexible material to prevent the sidewalk from cracking as the tree roots expand.
Mm.
Um, I don't know if that would be, I mean, it'd be beneficial in terms of preventing the sidewalks from uh, cracking, but I don't know how that would be in terms of continued same materials for someone using a cane to see.
Mm.
Yeah, I think yeah, I've seen it somewhere else too. It's almost like a rubberized surface. So they pour it in place. So instead of having the old iron grates around the trees, which they're supposed to then, cut as the tree gets bigger, oftentimes they wouldn't, and then it would heave or break the sidewalk. And so, um, yeah, it is a different material. I think what the consultant was, what they've proposed is that on the sidewalk that it's wide enough that you have your walking aisle, and they're saying in that tree area they would have maybe a different material. I know color, but I don't know about texture, where the trees would go. So then right there, it's kind of there's kind of like these lanes of, the pedestrian area and then kind of the amenity area where you might have trees or seating. Um, and so, I like what I'm hearing about maybe just even if it's change of color and if there's, Myra, like you said, something else that could even indicate in terms of material
Change
or
of
just even
texture.
texture.
Yeah, like you'd want to
Yep.
have it
Right.
scored somehow differently.
Yes. Yep.
Um, are they planning to put a tree ribbon there or whatever they call that on any? I mean, is that
That,
part of
that,
what they're planning to do?
I think the hope is that if there's enough width of the street, right? So as long as the street's wide enough and you can still have a nice sidewalk, they are proposing to try to have this area where you could have street trees planted. But it
Because
may
there are
be that
some trees that get giant, and there are
I,
some trees
right,
that don't.
How about if we ban planting trees very close to the sidewalks? Can it be done? Not because we don't love trees, but they are a hazard. Because I remember the sidewalk by Kellogg on
right,
Kellogg Street by the Unitarian meeting
right.
house.
Yeah.
It's terrible. And you
Yeah.
cannot really do anything about it. The trees are all nice and grown, so maybe the new trees should not be planted within a certain feet from the
Yeah.
sidewalks, you know.
Or I'm wondering about the kinds of trees. There are some trees that are not trees. I mean, a lot of the trees around here, they're going to get to be 40 feet tall or 100, or, I mean, this isn't work that's going to be done for 5 years. This is like allegedly a plan that's going to govern what they do.
Right.
And those, some of the trees absolutely are a hazard because
Yeah,
of they do rip up sidewalks
yeah,
and they make it impossible for wheelchairs.
yeah,
Yeah. I think, Sarah, to your point, I think I'll have to look and I can ask them,
yeah,
would they recommend a minimum sidewalk width? And if you can't get
yeah,
bigger than that, then you don't plant a street tree because you need that for, just the pedestrians. And so,
right.
yep, I think
And
that's
there's
something.
really no need for a tree to shade the sidewalk, because it's not a resting place.
Yeah, I mean, it could be green. I mean, you can put stuff there that isn't going to need mowing, which is, an incredible. I mean, they could just use green. They could use ground cover, that isn't a tree, but it isn't sidewalk either, and it's not going to
Yep.
rip up the sidewalk.
Right.
Yeah,
So, and if you have to change it, it's not like, oh my God, we have to take out this, 15-year-old tree or 25-year-old tree. I don't know. Anyway, it
Yeah.
yeah,
it
yeah,
is
yeah.
it
I
is an
mean,
issue.
going further, I mean, I don't want to cut the trees and everything, but look around what can be done. But in the future plans, ban it, or it should be like under special consideration and that kind of thing. And then that should be reviewed by our commission, maybe even.
Yeah, no, so I like the conversation, and I would say when the consultants are here next month, I think some of this could be repeated to them. And like I said, I'll type the notes up. I think it'd
Okay.
be good for them to hear that because, um, what they're proposing is, it's a lot of material, and at the local level, we might have to prioritize, what actually gets adopted or what is important. And so, they have all these ideas in terms of the right of way. These are the types of trees and where they could be planted. And I think it could be important to say, well, right, if the sidewalk is only so wide, maybe there's no trees.
Yeah.
And, could there be other considerations? I like the idea of no apex curb cuts.
Yeah.
So, I don't know how, if they've addressed that, for instance, in their standards. And so I think those are things that I'll relay them to them, and they can also, be part of the discussion next time. And so, right, the idea is that they'd be at the next meeting, your next meeting in April. And so, feel free to think of anything to ask them. I'll be there as well. So these are the types of questions or comments I think, that we welcome. And so even, if you have questions about the private realm, some of the buildings are up high. As you're talking, it's like, okay, well, how do we get into the building? So, you could have some nice sidewalks. And so then how do you transition from the sidewalk to the private building if there's some grade change? And so they've, talked
Mhm.
about trying to have a wall closer to the street so the sidewalk is flatter, a short retaining wall, almost like at the curb, just so the sidewalk could be um, flatter and then easier to get into the building. So you're not having, for instance, a steep cross slope on a sidewalk and then a steep ramp into the building. So,
Sort of like by the Black Sheep.
right.
I
Man,
mean, that
yeah,
is that
that
the
is,
kind of sidewalk you're talking about?
yeah. So
Because
right in front of the black sheep's okay, but then if you're heading uphill, the rest of the
yeah,
sidewalk is very steep. Um,
Yeah.
I,
yeah, it's a very difficult sidewalk.
it
I mean,
is.
Yeah.
yeah, and also what makes it even more difficult, and I don't even know if they think about this, but it's on the south side of the street. The
Right,
buildings shade the sidewalk. The
Hmm.
snow doesn't melt like it does on buildings on the north side of the street.
right,
So, when when you have a south facing sidewalk, you have it's much easier to deal with it.
right.
And we have to think about that stuff in
Yeah.
this part of the country.
Yeah.
No, it's a good point. No, I slipped there the other day actually when we had snow last week, and I like almost fell, but I like twisted my back really funny. I'm like, oh my
Ugh.
gosh. I'm like,
Well,
and I was, the owner of one of the buildings doesn't really clean the sidewalks very well. And so I came in and I complained to Rob next door to me, and I said, hey, Rob, come on. Like,
mm,
it's right next to town hall. I'm like, we can't get
Yeah.
them to clean their sidewalk better.
Yeah, tell him to go over to the middle school. He could
Yeah.
get a lot of fines right there.
Yeah.
I can't believe what's there. We were there yesterday. The sidewalks at the middle school are impassable. That's the school's
Right.
responsibility. They
Right.
didn't do it.
Right. But yeah, no, so I like everything I'm hearing, and I think these are things that we can pass on, I can pass on. And right. So and some of it would be right, if you have a wide enough sidewalk, like we talked about earlier, could you designate areas for snow storage? Or it's like,
Mhm.
what is the minimum width of the machine the town uses in the downtown? So let's have the sidewalk be wide enough so that the machine can plow the sidewalk easily. I think in some areas right now it's too narrow, so then the machine doesn't go down there, and then it's expected that someone will shovel it by hand.
Uh,
Um,
mm.
but
Also, in the ADA and in the MAAB regulations, there are rules about sidewalks,
mhm,
and I hope they have read them.
mhm,
I mean, I hope they're familiar with them, but we've been surprised at some of the comments that people came for the library about how they were going to mark the steps to the library versus the ramp, and
mhm.
that's not the way you do it. They were going to
Right,
use granite, looks pretty, but you can't feel it.
right,
And they didn't seem to know the rules. So
right.
that was a little bit of concern to me.
Okay, yeah,
Um, anyway, so this is going to be on April 14th,
yes,
right?
yeah,
Okay, so we have to all make sure we're there because they get to hear from us. And could you send us what you're going to send them after you type it up so that
Sure.
we
Yeah.
know what you have told them?
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. I'll send it through Pamela, so you'll.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Now, were you going to talk about Munson or any of the other building
I have
issues?
updates from
Oh,
Rob
you have
Mora
updates.
for
Yep.
Okay.
Munson and the Bangs Community
Okay.
Centers.
So
Yeah.
Nate's not going to talk about those. Okay.
Yeah. I
So thank you for coming, Nate. I appreciate your asking.
Sure. Yeah. Hey, thanks so much.
And
And
thank
I'll.
you seeing you
Yeah.
again after
Yeah. Hi,
so
Sharon.
many years, Nate.
It has.
Yep.
Oh,
Thank
I
you.
will. Yeah. I'll see you next month.
Okay.
Cool.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
All right. Bye. All right. Now we can go to the beginning of the
Uh,
agenda. Oh, you want to give us those updates? Because that's what would be there.
yeah, I can under old business you have the Worcester Restaurant Accessibility Guide, Munson Library Update, Bangs, and Transportation and Parking Commission. So I can read the information that I got from Rob Mora on the updates.
Okay.
So he wrote that the Munson Library project bid advertisement went out on the 5th of March, and that bids are due on March 19th. The facilities manager, Jeremiah LaPlante, will oversee the project and has split the scope of the work into two bids, one for the site work, ramp and railings, and the other bid for the door hardware. Both contracts will require substantial completion by June 30th, so they're trying to complete the project before the end of this fiscal year. Um,
Yeah,
on
that's
the
when the money runs out. So they have to.
right.
Yeah.
On the Bangs renovation project, he wrote, the Bangs renovation project is nearing completion of the first phase, consisting of all mechanical work in the lower level. The second phase is scheduled to start the week of March 23rd and will include all mechanical work on the second floor with some rooftop equipment replacement. It's also likely that minor exterior work associated with the stairway exit doors will be completed during the second phase as they serve the second floor office space. The signage plan has not been finalized, and we will bring those details to the commission when it gets a little closer after the architect and contractor began discussing the options with us. So here on the second floor of Bangs, we are being prepared to move. Um, we were told that to have our office packed and movers will move us down to the basement level over the weekend. We'll move the furniture and equipment to the basement level on the weekend. And so on Monday, when we return to work, we'll be returning to space. Um, our new temporary offices on the basement level. So
When you said mechanical, do you mean HVAC?
yes. So
Okay.
one of the major issues with the building was that there was no fire suppression systems in the building. And
Whoa. Okay.
so I know that's one of the things that they've been addressing, but yes, basically HVAC.
Okay. So do you actually know what else I mean, that's really important stuff. That doesn't have anything to do with accessibility.
Right.
Um, do you know what they're going to do besides signage? Are they replacing floors? Are they replacing carpets? Are they replacing wall colors? What are they doing?
I do not believe that they're replacing carpet or wall colors. Um, I do see that there are some blue painter's tape around various places in the building where they're going to put in electrical door open, automatic door openers and some, um, but I don't know what else they're doing around accessibility beyond those.
Okay. So I guess at some point it's Rob no, probably
Y-
Jeremiah.
Well, yeah, it's Robin and Jeremiah, but I think Rob has been doing the planning. So I can, He might be willing to also attend the April meeting, but I can extend an invitation or ask him to provide more specifics around um, ADA compliance.
I
I
guess
know,
the things we think are accessibility issues would be, can you get in? Can you get around? Can you find your way? Can you detect changes if you need to detect them? You know, like, you know, those, and then of course there are the bathrooms and the drinking fountains and the things that protrude from the walls and stuff like that. But I mean, so far the HVAC has nothing to do with us. But very shortly they're going to anything that the public can use, can see, has to get through is stuff that has to do with accessibility. And there are things that have to do with accessibility that people who are completely able-bodied don't even think of. So I don't know when they're going to get to the finishes part, but that's the part we need to be involved with.
right. So I think I'm looking uh, at his email. The signage he says he will address in the final phases.
Right.
But I can ask for more detail about some of the other issues that you have raised, or and I can ask him to attend the April meeting.
Okay.
Mhm.
That's good. I don't know what, excuse me, they might be planning, I don't know what they might be planning. So, but that's, no sprinklers is certainly a real biggie. Okay.
Yeah.
Um, all right. So that we have those. Anybody have any questions or comments about Bangs or Munson that we need to relate?
Well, I will point out that there was a lot of commentary the last couple of days in the Amherst neighbors email about how unsuitable the senior center is at the bank center, and just generally how the building doesn't meet the needs of seniors. And they're looking, there were a lot of suggestions about Wildwood School. So that isn't anything that we can really discuss today, but it's interesting because there are a lot, it is a very small place. Everything is disjointed. Some programs occur on one floor and others occur on another, and parking isn't very good. So it was interesting.
It
Yeah.
So,
would be good to bring that actually up. It's not our purview, except from the accessibility point of view, which is how are people going to get to the senior center? I would love to know if they have a study about how most people who use the center for a variety of reasons actually get there. If they take a bus, there has to be a bus that'll get people to Wildwood, and there isn't. I mean, it's very, very, very infrequent. So there would have to be transportation that the town would be providing to get people to Wildwood. If most people who use the bank center for this or that are actually getting there by car, that's a whole other thing. But I have a feeling a lot of the people can walk there from where they live. That was the whole point
Well,
of putting it there.
Myra, I was also following the emails that Jim was talking about, and they're saying not too many people come walking to Banks Community Center, and everything is so cluttered there, and there's really no place for an exercise place that's inviting, and they were comparing it with Hadley Senior Center. How very nicely designed, and they were really thinking what would be a good alternative rather
Okay.
than tearing it down. So,
and so we do have one public comment that came in by email from someone you know very well, and that was Elise. She emailed me earlier today, Elise Link, and her email comment says, hi, Pamela. I know I'm not on the commission anymore, but I want to bring to your attention that Wildwood is being looked at as a future senior center, but there is no access for those who don't drive
Correct.
and no bus stop near the location.
Correct.
Not sure whether you guys cover this or can I go to the transportation committee? Maybe a bus stop could be put near the location. I also don't want to do anything that would be a conflict of interest. Any advice would be helpful. And I wrote back to her telling her that I would raise the issue with the commission today. So I do think that is a concern. I can also tell you a little bit about the current plans for the third phase of renovation for the Bang Center, which won't address all of the issues in the senior center, but is meant to address some of the issues in the senior center. So at the during this next phase, which is phase two, the CREST department, which is on the second floor, and the DEI department, which is also on the second floor, are being moved down to the basement level. The DEI department is going into the current glass room, which was as you enter the building, um, uh, you would take the stairs down and the glass room would be right in front of you.
Yep.
So we will be those will be our temporary offices during the second phase. The CREST department is going into the space that house the Civil War tablets. Um, they have been crated so that for safekeeping, and the CREST department will be in that space. At the conclusion of phase two, while they're doing all of the renovations on the second floor, the DEI office will move back up into our permanent space on the second floor. The CREST department is projected to remain down in the basement level. And the health department, public health, is moving up to the second floor in the space that was previously occupied by the CREST department. That will then allow the renovation to enter the first floor stage. And so, uh, as I understand the plan, the senior center staff will move into the current public health offices while renovation of the senior center space happens. And then when that renovation is done, senior center staff will move back into their current space and renovation of the public health space will occur. Public health will remain on the second floor, and the senior center will basically have um, all of the first floor under its purview. Uh, so that might be another reason to ask Rob Moore to come back to spend some more time addressing that. It doesn't address all of the issues that are raised about accessibility and programming in the senior center, but that's the current plan under the existing renovations that are taking place.
Well, Elise has brought up the issue that is important. If people are driving cars, they can do a lot of things that people who don't drive cars cannot do. And that's a divide that we have to be able to bridge. And to say that the PVTA van will take care of that is not a solution because nobody wants to show up an hour in advance of the thing they're going to and leave an hour afterward just because the PVTA can't schedule you any better. So if there's going to be senior center sponsored activity where you can't get to by a bus or walk to if you live in those places, I mean, it's a big problem. Transportation is the biggest barrier to participation. I mean, it just is. It is if you have a wheelchair and you don't have your own vehicle. It is if you can't drive for any other reason.
Or seniors,
Yeah.
you know?
But I mean, the driving the car, I mean, downtown, there's no parking. That's true. It's a problem. I mean, it's a really big problem. I don't know how to solve the problem except for running a shuttle bus from someplace or other if you're going to do it at Wildwood, but you can't rely on the PVTA. The town is going to have to get involved in providing transportation, and I'm not sure they can do that. The PVTA, you can't. I mean, Wildwood just doesn't have a bus stop. No buses go down Strong Street, and if you're getting off the bus on East Pleasant Street, um, walking over to the Wildwood building is not easy. There's a hill, there are several hills. I mean, it's not like just getting out of your car, going across a parking lot. You have to go down the street, then you have to go down the hill, then you have to go across the parking lot. I mean, it's not easy if you're going to be taking a bus. The bus is going to have to go right in there somehow. I don't think the PVTA is going to do it.
Yeah,
Anyway,
think I think when the senior center was established, I probably was even around at that time, but I wasn't paying attention because I was what in my 20s or something like that, you know. But
yep,
anyway, I think the idea was basically that the people who would go to the senior center would be from Clark House. And so, and I'm sure that's still the case. The problem is there was never really any arrangement for parking. And
right,
so as the elder population in Amherst has increased in terms of people who live independently, people, by independently, I mean in their own homes, and who drive, they really can't access the senior center.
correct.
If you look at Northampton, you've got sort of the best of all possible worlds because they're
Yes,
next to the Salvo House. But at the same time, they've got an ample parking lot and they're on a bus route. Uh,
yep,
and so it's heavily used. Hadley, it's a lovely place. Hadley does have senior housing, but it's not that close to the senior center there. It strikes me that what Amherst needs to do is really take a look at who uses the center, who would want to use the center, and then how to make it work. Uh, and maybe it's neither Wildwood nor the current setup. I don't know. I mean, you've got all these businesses, places that come and go, like Garcia's, which used to be a pizza place, which used to be an auto place and stuff like that. Maybe, I don't know, but I think that right now we've got a situation where it doesn't work for an awful lot of seniors. We don't
Yeah.
want to substitute that for another solution, which doesn't work for a different population of seniors.
correct.
Somehow we have to try, but I don't think we can. I think some studies need to be done.
Beautifully said. Thank you. It's an issue, and I guess I mean, it's really a council on aging issue, except I don't know if they really represent people or if they have good representation of people with disabilities. It's almost like we should have a little crossover with that group, and we don't. Um, I don't know, perhaps we should look into that. And I don't know the new senior center director. We haven't met with that person. Um, I don't think the previous director would have been somebody that would have been easy to work with about this, but I don't know the current director.
So
Um,
I'm sad to say that the new director, Lisa Borschetti, her last day was last Friday.
oh, whoa.
She was here and had left her current position because of health reasons. So there is now another posting for a new senior
Oh,
center
wow.
director.
Okay.
And the public health director, Kiko Mallon, is serving as the interim um, during this period. So,
Hmm.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay.
she's the one who was trying to do sip a coffee or something like that, or and she was trying to put all the centers that are dealing with seniors get together. Like Amherst Neighbors was invited to a meeting on March 26th, if I'm not wrong, as well as several other agencies, including the chamber.
Okay, that was probably one of Lisa's projects, and it's likely that that will still go forward.
Mm,
Because I know she left a pretty robust plan and calendar.
yeah.
Um, but I don't know 100%,
Wow.
but unfortunately she
What?
has stepped down from the position.
Mm,
But that's terrible news, terrible for her, maybe terrible for the town. But
well,
we didn't get invited to any of that, which I think is interesting, right? We need a presence in this decision-making process about the senior center. And the fact that we weren't invited into it in some way tells me something. Um, because, yeah, people who drive cars, they don't think about it until they don't drive cars. And then they say, oh, how do I get there? Oh, well, I'll have my sister bring me, or my sister isn't available, so I can't go. Or, you can't get a ride from Amherst Neighbors unless you request it a week in advance. So, um, anyway, I think it's interesting. It's an interesting topic. And I think we need to have a presence in the decision-making process, but we don't have anybody to talk to about that right now, Pamela, right?
So I just wrote a note to myself to raise that as an issue to the town manager. Typically, the hiring process only involves town staff. Uh, uh, um, there is, I think in the past for director level positions, there's a personnel committee for the town, and they may have a member of that personnel committee involved in hiring for director level positions, but I'll just send him a note that that's a concern, and then, I don't know how he will address that, but
It would
will
be great
inform
if
him.
you could be involved in it, just because you
Yeah.
don't have any time to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. My, so my hands are really full. Hopefully they're going to get started on hiring right away. The DEI office, we're working every Saturday for the next 5 weeks because we have youth empowerment programming on Saturday, and then we have
Oh my God.
the Amherst Global Village on April 11th. So every Saturday between now and April 11th is tied up for me with a work activity. So I'm trying not to add on to all the other
Yeah.
stuff that I need to do.
I wasn't even thinking that we needed to be involved in hiring. I
Hmm.
think we need to be involved in the planning process of what's going to go forward. That's what I was trying to
Okay.
say. I didn't say it very well, I guess. But, Saren said they invited Amherst Neighbors and they invited the chamber. And, there's no voice of people with disabilities there. That
Right.
they
Yeah.
didn't invite that voice
yeah.
is
Right.
is
They're just
not
trying.
it
Yeah.
it it sends bad signals to me.
Hmm.
And to echo Myra, um, an awful lot of the senior population has disabilities.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a very arbitrary line to say disability people over here and seniors over here. I mean, I know Serena and I are both kind of, well, we're definitely seniors.
I am too. I mean, I am too.
Yeah.
I'm an
So,
octogener. What?
Octogenarian.
yeah.
Yes, yes.
You are?
Yes, I am.
Well, wow.
So,
That's pretty cool.
I have a writing group, and there are many of us that are celebrating being octogenarian. Oh gosh, I
To
can.
think I knew you
Yeah,
when you were under 50 is a little
yeah,
frightening.
right, right.
All
But
right.
the thing is, in Amherst Neighbors, which is really like around 600 plus some members, and they provide rides, right? And I needed a ride so badly. The only thing is somebody needs to drive my van
Hmm.
Right.
because I cannot get into anyone's car and they
Right.
cannot do it. And I said this is something that we need to push, and that's why I was hoping that Jim would join Amherst neighbors, and we can just be more vocal, do more advocacy, and they understand my dilemma. And I said we could even get a donated vehicle from PVTA. And if we have the volunteers, couldn't they be trained to provide these kind of rides? So they're just, I'm, it seems like I'm the only voice raising this concern. So, it's something, a big issue. And every time we say we look into what are the services that we need, and I always put it at the top of the list. But,
Transportation is the biggest
yeah,
divider.
yeah,
It
yeah.
is. It's the biggest excluder. It's the biggest divider, and it's rarely solved well.
So that's a
And
great lead into our next, the last thing on the old business, which is Transportation and Parking Commission.
Ian, did it happen yet?
It has not, but that is why I wanted to have it on the agenda for today, just so that I can have everyone's input as to what I should be raising. I mean, I have things that I would raise, but I just want to be sure that I'm bringing everyone else's perspective as well.
What things are you thinking you'd like to raise?
Um, uh, Things that we've talked about in terms of crosswalks, uh, uh, the transportation to the, and I can't remember if that got solved. We talked about it in a recent meeting, but the transportation to the new um, uh, accessible trails park at the old golf course. Um,
Yeah, I don't think that issue has been solved, Ian, but
No.
not, I'm sure.
yeah. And it also increasing some of like this would be a long-term thing, but increasing the uh, uh, the rate at which some of the PVTA buses go, because I know that the 33 bus only goes every 40 minutes, and that is there's the survival center at one end, and then the Big Y shopping center at the other end, and for if there's I think there's only like one or two wheelchair ability to have wheelchairs on those buses or room. And so
Are they big buses or little buses?
they are, I
Big
guess,
buses.
standard size big buses.
Standard buses. Okay.
Yeah. Um,
From the survival center to Big Y.
yeah.
That's the Route 33.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're not going to get more than 40 minutes out of them. I can tell you because I'm on the PVTA paratransit riders, and the some buses are down to 30 minutes, but not very many. And those are like Springfield ones might be, Springfield city buses that go like on a certain street or something might be 15 minutes, but
Yeah.
I don't think they're capable of, they don't have the staff.
Yeah.
They don't have the money. I mean, 40 minutes all day or just 40 minutes at rush times? What's the 40 minutes
Just that's their cycle for each stop.
all
Um,
day?
yeah.
So it goes back and forth, 20 minutes each way.
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay. Well, I'm pretty surprised that you get it, that it's that good.
Or if you're at a stop and you miss like a 12:41, you'd have to wait until 1:20.
Yeah.
Uh,
But it's a scheduled bus. You
yeah.
know, I mean, I think you should bring it up, but given what I know about the PVTA, I'd be shocked if they could do better than that. Because that's one bus that they've dedicated to it, and that's the round trip time of the route. They're not going to put two buses on there.
Okay.
Um, they just don't have them. They're short staffed. They don't have, um, yeah. But I think like other buses, um, I don't know how often the 30 bus goes, for example. Um, but the one that goes from Belchertown Road to UMass. I don't know how often it goes, but
I'm
I'd be
I'm not sure. I could look that up.
okay. Um, Anyway, so are there things that we want to talk about with the that we want in to bring forward to the Transportation and Parking Commission?
Well, I mean, I guess I have a couple of questions. Of course, winter is almost over, and I say almost. I mean, we could still get snow in April, but nevertheless, I mean, are there problems with snow accumulation at bus stops? Is
Yes.
and
Go
so
ahead.
and generally speaking, when you look at municipal parking, are there problems? Certainly there have been in the past. I don't know whether it's true. They end up pushing all the snow into the HP space because, well, that's just more convenient. I
Or
think,
into the crosswalk. Don't forget that.
well, yes, the crosswalks too.
You get all the way down the sidewalk and then you can't get into the street.
Right. So those certainly are concerns. I mean, again, they're seasonal, but 6 months of the year there can be a problem around here.
Yeah.
So that's definitely
That
something.
that's
And the
helpful.
thing is, it is the end of the winter, but unfortunately, it'll be back before we want it to be. And we'll be dealing with this, 7, 8 months from now. So we might as well have it on their radar. Um, who cleans bus stops is not easy to figure out. Um, I think the PVTA is supposed to clean them. Um, but I don't know if they think that. I think the town thinks that.
Well, it seems like this is something this task force could
Yeah,
address. Say, here's
yeah,
our recommendation. This needs to happen. And
yeah.
So the other issue is that I would raise is the one that actually led to the formation of this commission, which is um, the um, whether there was going to be a roundabout at the new school location, the sidewalks there, because that sort of the conversation around those decisions sort of bubbled into we need to have this new commission. So I think that is also something that you'll be asked to address. Um,
Thanks, Pamela. That was one of the things I forgot to say right at the beginning.
right,
It
yeah.
had been on my mind, but I forgot to say
Hmm.
it just now.
Yeah. So it's 12:40 and we have
Okay. Oh, we have, okay.
two other,
I sent Pamela something about Worcester, about the restaurant thing. Pamela, you could send my corrections out. I couldn't change any of the things that had to do with the, who to refer to. Are you putting it up there? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, it's up there.
Um, I I can't fix any of the things that have to do with who it should be referred to. So anything that said, if you have any, if you need any help, contact this and these are the places. I didn't change that at all, but I looked at the language. I made some changes. Not a lot, but some. And I don't know if people want to do that now or if you want to look at my changes and agree or disagree with them and send them in to Pamela for the next meeting. And we also have, what else we have to talk about? Let's see. Um, oh, why can't I read my, oh, oh, the disability story time. We have to deal with that. Did anybody, you got that thing, right, that I sent, that Northampton sent out that they want to do for Disability Pride Month in July?
yep.
They
Meyer, can
wanted,
I interrupt for a second? I'm
yeah,
just going to talk for a minute about the Worcester guide
okay,
and then we can. So
okay.
for the Worcester guide, what I would like to do, everyone, is to send you the revised document that Myra did. Well, the changes are in red. I added, as
Oh,
Myra just said, there were some sections where she didn't change, where it talks about um, where folks should be directed to as far as, and hopefully you can see my screen, like you can see in red. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Yeah, so those changes, and then at the end of the document, she added in the helpful resources. I
no,
will,
I didn't. They were there.
Oh, were they there
Yeah.
in red? I thought that might have been you.
No,
So
I didn't add that.
okay, so I will send this revised document out, and it would probably be most helpful to me if folks sent me their changes, and then I
Yeah.
can send it out to the group. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing.
Reg,
Thanks,
can you
Myra.
see what's red?
Yes,
You can. Okay.
yes.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay. I cannot. So,
okay, yeah.
okay. Um, so did anybody read the the thing that Northampton sent me about the let's see, what did they call it? Oh, I'm lost again. Wait.
Disability Pride Month
Yeah, but
2026.
they had a
Accessible Family Story Times.
yeah, and I didn't really understand what they had in mind. Um, but there was a link to it. I don't really know what they had in mind. Um, did anybody read what they sent?
I
I can review it if nobody else has. I have the summary in front of me.
Okay,
Okay.
maybe you understand it because I
Okay.
didn't.
It's so in the summary it says they're proposing an accessible family story times in conjunction with other nearby disability commissions. The goal would be to hold several story times geared to various age groups in disability aware environments. So low lighting, scent free, quiet areas, and they would encourage ASL interpreters and um, um, and read books about disability or that feature characters with disability. So it's the Northampton Disability Commission, and they're inviting us and I assume Northampton,
East Hampton.
East Hampton to
Yeah,
participate. The events would be held in local libraries in the participating towns and then as far as a proposed date, that would be left up to each individual town. And then each town would be responsible for organizing the story time in their town and coordinating with the library. So I think their overall goal is to present a series as they did with the films last year, but rather than having a film, each of the neighboring towns would offer a story time, and that would be so there would be a series of story times offered in July.
anybody have any comments or questions?
What are going to be discussed in the story times?
I think each
Personal stories?
I no, I think each commission would choose a book or two to be read at a story time. So imagine, uh, families would take their young kids to the library, and there might be one for like kids, a story that's for kids 10 and under, and then there might be another kid story for those a little bit, 10 to 12 or something. I don't know. Um, and the books would be read, and um, there would also be an American Sign Language interpreter there. And the books, we as a commission would choose which book we wanted to read. So right now there's not a lot of kids' books coming to my mind, but maybe it's
We have to talk
a
to
child's,
librarians.
yeah, maybe it's a children's version of the Helen Keller story, just to give us an example. So it's that type of a story time, not a personal story, but um, you know,
Literature
yeah, yeah, juvenile
about
literature. Right. Thank you.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
Who will be
um
the audience?
kids,
All right.
families.
Mhm.
And the problem is it's
Kids and
July
families.
and yeah, it's the cynical part of me is going to stay under wraps for the moment. Okay. Does anybody think this is a good idea?
Well, could we reach out to the library? I know they're busy and
Mhm.
stuff, but on the other hand, I mean, I don't think any of us know about titles.
Mhm.
Maybe Ian does. I don't know. But, at this point, it would sort of be, what would we do? Whereas if, maybe the library has some suggestions and there's a possibility of collaboration there, that would only put us into April, which gives us plenty of time to plan. I don't know.
We have to do it in the North Amherst Library, or in Munson.
Right.
We can't do it in Jones. Well, I mean, they have that funny space, but I don't think that's a good idea. And it would be good to get people into the North Amherst Library. Maybe, I don't even know if they have that one room, right?
Yes, they do have one. They do have one room for a
right, with
gathering.
up to 50 people.
Yeah.
So we could do it there. We can, I'm sure the librarians would have suggestions. That's what they do.
Mhm.
My daughter's a children's librarian. That's what they do. They know about books and they run events. And I mean, what would we do is the question.
I think we are the sponsors, so we're going to greet people at the door, thank them for coming, and promote the event.
But I think there's another thing here too, which is, if we're there, and we've got, a person with a vision impairment, and we've got a person in a wheelchair, and we've got a person with a cochlear implant, these are examples of functioning adults. Now, you could say I don't function very well, and I wouldn't even argue with you on that point. But I think it's also, here's some role models to go along with the story that we're reading. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. I am happy to reach out to the children's librarian. And I think that they would probably be delighted to partner with the commission and to do this. So,
Okay. So what do people think? So Pamela likes the idea.
I
Jim
like the
seems to
idea.
like the idea. Ian likes the idea.
Yep. As I was a former preschool teacher, and actually, the mother of one of my students is, or former students is a children's librarian. So I could in the library system here. So I could ask her as well.
Yeah, I mean, first, I think, given that we're not going to do much of the work, we need to contact the library. Now, the thing is, what day of the week do you do this? I mean, in the summertime, most kids are in some kind of program somewhere because there's no school, and so they're in this or that. So it would have to be like a Saturday if we were going to get anybody to come. I think you don't invite, 5-year-olds to something at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock. That's like really recipe for disaster.
Well, I would suggest again that we rely on Pamela and Ian to talk to their contacts as librarians, and they're going to have experience with these kinds
Yep,
of
yep,
things. And I'm sure they have activities during the summer.
yep.
So I don't think we should worry too much about stuff we don't even know about. So.
Okay, so we can tell Northampton that we're looking into it, that we think it's a good idea, that we're approaching our librarians. They're having a meeting that they invited us to tonight. They're Northampton Council, which I may or may not attend. Um, uh, but okay, so Reg, you haven't yet weighed in on this.
Yes, I like this idea.
Okay. All right. All right. I will get back to the Northampton woman, Amy Zukihara, and she's really good at trying to keep up with this stuff, I have to say. Much better than I am. Okay. All right. So then do we have anything else here?
uh, no, just an apology about the minutes. So we have two wonderful interns. One loves doing minutes, the other one struggles a bit, and so the minutes did not get done. But I am working on making some updates and revisions to them, and then I'll send them out in advance with these minutes to be approved next month. So,
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good.
Pamela and I discussed before we started that this is the year that we all need to do that ethics questionnaire from the state. I didn't do it. I don't know if anybody remembered to do it, but we have to do it. And it would be good if we would do it before the town clerk chases us down and says that we're, like in violation or something. So we need to do that. And we also
Couldn't we pay
have to
somebody
write
to do
an
this?
end of year. part of being a commission is that you have to have a report at the end of the year about what you did. Um, I guess it's due at the end of June, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
So I guess Pamela, you and I should
Yeah,
sit
I can
down.
send you the I can send you the one that the HRC uh, produces at the end of the year. Just to give you an example, it's generally like 2 or 3 pages. They have responsibility for hearing complaints, formal complaints that are filed at the city. So there's always a section on that. But I think there's no set format. You can determine what you want the format to look like, what you want the contents to be. But
Okay.
yeah,
And I need all the agendas, which I
okay.
have to make sure I have
Mhm.
because I wish I had a better filing system. I confess. Okay.
So I will say that I was in the system a few weeks ago. I believe that all of our minutes and agendas, all of it should be up to date. Like all the agendas should be there. But if would you like me to download them and send you the
If
documents, the
you
PD?
could, I
Okay.
would be so appreciative.
Okay.
And I can sit down and try to put this together because we have to
Hmm.
do it. I mean, it's obviously it'll have more by the end, but it just be these are the issues
Hmm.
um that we have worked on.
Right.
Okay. And that would be anything that started in July.
Right.
So we start with the movie. That was good.
Yeah.
And the flag.
On the
Do we still
proclamation.
have the flag?
Yes, we do. There is one other thing that was on the under new business, and Jim, it was public informational video on snow removal. Was that
Oh,
an
yeah.
idea that you?
I don't remember that.
I think I put it on because
Okay.
I think East Hampton made one,
Okay.
which I thought was clever. I don't want to be in the video, but I think it wouldn't be a bad idea if we could even do it in a way to show why people need to clean their sidewalks.
Mhm.
We could start right now with the middle school and show why they need to clean their sidewalk.
So the Human Rights Commission, and I can send the entire commission a link, created a video last year about their complaint process. It was done using resources at Amherst Media, so it was pretty much done on the cheap. And uh, members of the commission, served as as the actors. And one of the members of the commission wrote the script that was then, read and recorded. So that's something that you all can think about. I think Amherst Media would probably, uh, you know, be open to supporting the commission and creating an informational video if you decided to move forward. And I can send you that link as well.
Thank you.
So,
Okay. I don't think we have to do that right now,
mhm.
but right now we do have to do the ethics questionnaire. That we do have to do. And if you can weigh into Pamela on the restaurant guide, we don't have to call it Worcester anymore. Eventually, we're going
Right.
to own it.
Yeah.
Um, so I think I think that's good. Oh yes, and regarding the website law, the regulation said that all town websites, I guess we're under 50,000. So ours technically doesn't go into effect until next year,
Mhm.
I think. But the problem is that the Trump administration is apparently about to rescind it. So we would be doing it, but we wouldn't be required to do it. So we'll have to see. But yesterday I went to a meeting and heard on Zoom that we should not expect that the 50,000, the towns over, cities over 50,000 will be required to do it by the end of April because they're about to rescind it. Just perfect. Okay, April 14th is the next meeting. We'll meet with Nate Malloy and probably hear a little bit more about some of the other town buildings. And hopefully it won't snow between now and then, but don't keep your fingers crossed. Anyway, okay, and we need a motion to adjourn.
This is Ian. Motion to adjourn.
Okay, we need a second on the motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Okay. All right, all not in favor of adjourning, say aye. Okay, we're adjourned.
All right.
Okay, thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Pamela. Thank you.
Bye-bye.